We've arrived at the festival this morning, Anna and I, and bumped into this character.
Hi.
This is Chris English, and if you saw the video last year, we had a really great chat about his quilts. So I'm going to ask him to do the same again, because how many quilts have you got in the festival?
I've got 3 in the festival
Three
this
in
year,
the festival?
yeah.
So we're going to go and have a look at them all?
Absolutely.
Take us to the first one, Chris.
Right, which one? I think, where are we? Modern, let's go that way.
Let's go that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Here it is.
Here it is.
Oh, it's unmistakably Chris.
Oh, thanks.
Ah, lovely. Okay, so come and tell us about this.
So, this is, I suppose, hopefully it is quite, I don't think, firstly it's in the modern category, but I don't think it is modern, but I tend not to let the category labels bother me too much.
It's hard to fit your quilt into category. I found that with Agnes's quilt.
Yeah, so I think it probably crosses a couple, probably it should be in contemporary, because we've got some kind of traditional quarter square triangles, but reimagined in a more modern way. And then what I like to do, so this quilt I made for a friend for her birthday, and I got all these promotional calendars from a shop in Murfield.
Fabric ones.
Yeah, but they're fabric, so they were made by the company that made the fabric as things for shops, and they had loads of them, so I think they gave me them in the end. But this is from 2002, which was the year my friend was born, so I thought that was particularly relevant. And then like a lot of my quilts, I use a lot of orphan blocks, so these just filled the gap here nicely.
Those.
Yeah, they're beautiful, aren't they?
They really
They've got
are.
like feed sack fabric in, which is
Okay,
just amazing.
so talk to us about the fabrics then, as you're showing us these things. That's the promotional calendar, but then these are bits of vintage.
Feed sack, yeah. So feed sack fabric was made as packaging, but with the idea that you could reuse it once you'd used what was in the packaging. So stuff like flour, sugar, etc. So to start with, it was plain, and then the manufacturers soon realised that people were buying it for the fabric, and then they started adding patterns, and then they had like patterns for dresses and toys and all sorts of stuff.
Don't you think that the conversation will have been, I'm going to the market to get all the stuff, well, don't buy that brand, buy this, because I need the fabric.
You need the fabric, absolutely, so it's clever. And it could work now, I think, but anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah,
and then, with a lot of my quilts, I make them a section at a time. So this piece here is some half square triangles I was experimenting with, and lots of machine quilting. Yeah,
this is corduroy.
It's corduroy, yeah, it's corduroy, and there's some feed sack in there, and there's all sorts in there. There's shirting, there's all sorts in there, really.
Have you run out of your workman's trousers from last year?
The bright orange, yes, which is a shame, because that's a stunning colour.
Okay, Chris, walk on.
Yeah.
Now then.
Group next.
It's now try and find it, isn't it?
I know where it is.
Oh, you know where it is?
Okay. Once I found one, I found it.
Oh, we can navigate to the rest of it.
No, good.
Sadly.
Sad, well, yes.
There it is.
Here we are.
Here it is. Now this one is in the category group.
Yeah, this is my group quilt.
Tell us about why this is a group quilt.
This is a group quilt because my friend in the States, who I get different pieces of fabric from, sent me these orphan signature blocks. So we've got Gladys Watkins, Mildred Watkins, Sarah something, Ina Overstreet, Sarah Twist, Maud
Van Dyke,
Sarah Hughes and Essie Watkins. So obviously they made them to be in a quilt. They didn't get finished for whatever reason, and now they've arrived with me. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll put them together with some of my stuff, and put us all in as a group quilt. So hopefully, wherever these people are, they'll know that their blocks are
being
actually
seen.
Yeah, they're in a quilt and it's done. They'll get used.
And again, is this the piece, bits and pieces coming together?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see like pieces like this where I've experimented. Like this gold is an old curtain fabric, probably 60s vintage.
And so I was looking at this yesterday, and I was thinking, yeah, that would be the sort of curtain I would take down in the house I'd moved into and throw away.
Yeah.
And you've got this audacity to stick it in there, and it looks fantastic.
Well, I just think outside of the curtain, you couldn't tell really. And to me, that just adds like texture and a bit of
sparkle.
Yeah, a bit of glamour. Dare I say it?
I love it.
And then I've got this piece of velvet. Now listen, the curtain was like 50p. This piece of velvet, it's old, so it was relatively expensive. But for me, it's going in. I know it's going to go in a quilt, and I know it was coming here. And some of my fabric, like in this section, there's the green is Liberty. I think the black is I can't remember what it is, but the pink, it's from a Peppa Pig duvet. So that was like 50p, and I've still got tons of it. You can see in here, like these pieces of red is a tea towel. It was like a coronation tea towel.
Yeah, I can see the
so you can
beefeater.
see, like, you can see the beefeater.
Yeah.
And there's a bit, there. Look, there's some soldiers and stuff. And again, mixed in with all sorts of different bits. And so that was made just as a one patch, and then I flipped it and cut it so the blocks are on point, because I think when they're diagonal, they've got a bit more. They've got a bit more dynamism and energy about them.
And I know that when this quilt comes off the wall and comes back to you, it's going on your bed, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not precious, are they?
No, they've got to be used, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, group quilt. What's your last category that you've got a quilt in?
Last category we've done, it's sustainable.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
Can you find it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's find it.
Until the show opens. 15 minutes until the show opens. 15 minutes until show open.
Yeah.
What's going on with that A?
Yeah.
So here it is.
Yeah.
This is in the sustainable category.
Yes.
So here we go. Tell us about this one.
Well, I think looking at it, and what I said a moment ago about the different categories, this could be, well, they're all kind of interchangeable.
It could all be modern, it could all be anywhere really.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about not getting hung up on the category definitions, because let's be honest, I know I'm not going to win anything, and it doesn't bother me. I just like having my quilts in the show.
Yes. Well, you might not win it conventionally, but I think you win a lot of fans.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean. I'd rather people like the quilt.
Yeah.
The category, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it?
That's right.
So this is a quilt that the writing says why are boys killing each other, and there was a terrible incident in Huddersfield, and a poor boy died, and it was awful, and it provoked that, because I have a teenage son, and it hit me quite hard actually, and so this is just kind of, because I quilt, that's how I convey my message.
That's right.
So it's called Stop Knife Crime, and it's just, again, it's a bit of a mishmash of other stuff. So the pink fabric, this is some experiments I've been doing with bubble printing my own fabric.
No, I think I saw that on Instagram, because you're on Instagram, aren't you?
Yeah.
And what's your Instagram handle?
A full English.
Which is a type of breakfast which will give you a heart attack.
Yeah, if you eat them every
if
day,
you eat them every day, it will. But a full English.
And my surname's English.
English, exactly. But I saw you doing some of this printing, and that looked really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's fun, and I just like it, and I think it's just, I like the graphic nature of it, and it needs refinement, but I've made the fabric, so I was going to use it. And again, you can see, like on this, for example, I bought this piece of fabric, and the bit I love is where it's been repaired.
Yes.
And so I've kept that in. I've stitched over it. But I just love that that's in there like that. I've got some more kind of improv-y piecing happening here. And again, when I did these blocks, again I switched them. They were straight up vertical. Then I switched them to be on point again.
Just to make them more
dynamic.
Make
it more interesting. Yeah.
And so this is made. This is made. And then so at home, then you've got a big stack of
samples.
Samples. It's like, oh, let's try this.
Yeah.
This fabric looks interesting. Let's do. And then it's like, do you work on a big design board?
No, on the floor really.
On the floor.
Yeah. So my fabric storage isn't great, so it's all together.
Yeah.
But that's when things like this happen, because you've got the graphic nature of this check against this with very pictorial kind of kind of elaborate design, and I just like it goes back to contrast.
And the quilting, we've got some quite heavy machine stitching, and then loads of hand stitching. I love how you mix those two together.
Yeah, because one of the reasons is that some of the samples have the machine quilting, like that and that, for example, because trying to get that through a domestic machine is just impossible. So I can just about get something that size through, and get the result I want, rather than wrestling something this size through.
But then, is it for that reason? Because this one's quite small and is hand pieced. So, is it because you just like hand piecing sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely as
Me
well.
too.
Yeah. So I think I'm more into hand quilts, and I just feel personally, I have more control and get the result that I want. And like this, and again, on all three quilts, it's this kind of very loose Baptist fan kind of thing. Yeah. And all I've made from the back of a cereal box a template,
Yeah.
and so I put it down. And I draw with, you can see there's
So
chalk on it still.
you're not using a quilting ruler for that?
No.
You cut out a template
Like
with
some-
colour. How wonderful! And then drawn it with chalk.
Drawn it with chalk, and then once you've drawn a few, you can
Yes,
of
you can
just
kind of follow it on.
follow
can't
it. Yeah,
you?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
I did a bit of a Baptist fan thing,
Yeah.
and you get the idea, don't you? Oh,
Yeah.
go here. Yeah. And so, I love your. Oh, what's the back of this one?
oh, it's that, you've recognised that fabric
Yes,
from
we've had
earlier.
that one already. Judges' comments. It's very good.
Oh, and that one's on. Yeah, so it's same
Some
fabric
bits,
as earlier. Yeah.
Big bits, yeah. Wow, well, I love them. I really do. And
And
so,
this little piece, I should have pressed this a bit better. It's not hanging very well. But that bit I did a while ago, and it was meant to look like it's. Yeah, there's a loose thread as well. Let's pretend we
or a
can't see
fill
that.
sticking
yeah.
out there, very nice.
And it was about. I was trying to make it look like it was a net was going in. Yeah, but it was abandoned as an idea. But
And then it made
then
its
it made
debut
it.
in here. It's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
Nice. So thanks so much for showing us your quilts, but will you show us your T-shirt?
Yes, so this is the Nigerian national team football shirt, and I love the fabric. There was a programme on BBC Two, and they were covering 4 different countries in Africa, and they were talking about art and fashion, and they saw this fashion designer, and he'd done the
Stand still, because look,
fabric.
there's
of the
all
shirt.
these half square triangles, look, and all these little quilt blocks coming together.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like 2 of my favourite hobbies colliding, so I couldn't not get it.
It's brilliant, absolutely
Thanks.
brilliant. So come on, let's go and try and find those. This bit will be over on Patreon. So
It's the same.
Chris has just brought me to meet his friend Nick. It's on the Bernina long arm
Quilting
stall.
Yeah.
Do you know everybody here?
No, not quite everybody.
quite
Well,
everybody.
I know some people here.
But Nick's just talking to someone about this long arm. I'm going to get him to show us how it works in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, just head.
Because
I know Nick from the quilting world, and he's an amazing modern quilter. He's got books out, he's got an Orifil thread collection.
Oh,
He does
does
it
he?
all. Yeah, he does it all, and he's very talented. So you should definitely meet him
I should definitely meet him.
when he stopped doing his sales stuff.
Talking to somebody else. So he's got. Here we go. So
Hello.
okay. So I'm Kate, and Chris has just introduced me to
Yes.
you. And you tell me a little bit about what's going on here.
So we are here on the Bernina long arm stand, and we have 2 stands at Festival of Quilts, our domestic sewing machines and our long arm sewing machines. And we have all the different models set up, both the frame models that you can see on the frames here, and then the more space-saving table models as well.
Okay. Ah.
And we just could have show people how they can make your free motion quilting
You
life.
could have that at home.
You could.
A domestic
yeah,
setting.
Absolutely. And it's a foldable table, so it makes it a little bit smaller
Oh,
if
that's good.
space is a premium. So
Okay.
yeah, it's brilliant.
And are you showing people how to use this?
Absolutely, yes. So
Okay.
this is a long arm on a frame. So it's all operated from these handles here, and it has a stitch regulator. So essentially that's going to keep the stitch all the same length for me, regardless of how quickly or fast. Slowly I move the machine, so you can see that it's just regulating that stitch for me and keeping everything nice and consistent so that you've got really nice stitch definition.
So I'm a hand quilter,
Yeah.
mainly because I'm a little bit frightened of machine quilting.
Yes, yeah. We get that. I mean, it's quite an intimidating machine to look at, especially if you're, used to working on a smaller sewing machine or a hand quilter in your case. And it can be quite, I don't really want to break it. But it's very easy to use, and it's all really intuitive, and it's just a click of the button, really. And as I said, that stitch regulation is being taken care of. So if you can move these handles, and I liken it to doodling, as quilters, we often like to doodle designs. If you can do that on a pad with a pen or a paper, you can do it on
With a
this.
needle.
With a needle, absolutely. And like
So
everything,
you've just done something that I thought was not allowed. You've just crossed
the
your line.
Yeah.
Oh, he's crossed the line.
So many rules in quilting that
Oh,
I like
God,
to
this is
break.
the quilt police.
The quilt police. But yeah, nobody says that you can't cross lines. And if you didn't cross lines, you wouldn't have things like loops.
Oh, lovely.
So you could absolutely just go in and do kind of like real free motion stuff. And it's your quilt at the end of the day. That's what I always say whenever I teach quilting, to talk about quilting. The rules are there just as suggestions. If you want to cross the line, just
Cross the line.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Yeah, a hand quilt. A hand quilt because I like how long it takes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's meditative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But this, I can see how this would be a pretty interesting addition to what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Where at the Last Holy House can I fit a long armour? Nowhere.
You don't need a bed, right? You can just get rid of the bed. That's what we say to some
Yeah,
people.
we've already got rid of one bed to make an office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
not really. And so, brilliant. So you're enjoying your time at festival?
Absolutely, yeah. It's always great to come here. Some of the people I don't see for a year at a time, so like Chris, get to connect with people like him, and just network with people like you, make
And
new friends.
That's what's lovely.
Yeah.
Is I'm meeting so many really cool people.
Yeah.
So we're coming next year.
Yeah,
Are you here next year?
I am. I'm
We'll
always
see.
here. We should
Okay.
catch up again.
We would,
We'll do a
definitely.
little talk or something.
And then I met your colleague who's over on the domestic Bernina machines.
Yes.
So I'm going to go over and find her now.
Yeah, Sarah, she's lovely. She's a laugh. She's a New Zealander.
Well, this is the thing. I met her at breakfast yesterday. She's staying where we've been staying, and when she said she was from New Zealand, I thought that was it. It's my favourite country on the planet.
sold. Yeah.
Absolutely. So going to go and find her and
Nice.
talk New Zealand.
Brilliant.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Oh, thank
and
you.
good luck with your new book.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
okay. Thank you. Take care. So I'm here in this gallery here with Joe Cunningham, who I just met a couple of days ago for the first time. What a lovely guy. So tell us a bit about yourself, Joe.
I'm from Flint, Michigan. Is my homeland, and then I moved 30 years ago to San Francisco, California, where I live and where my wife and sons are, and I have a studio that's also an art gallery in San Francisco. It's a quilt gallery, though.
But you've been quilting for a long time.
44 years.
Really?
Yes, since you were in elementary school.
Not quite, but Anna definitely wasn't here
See?
44 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, 44 years. What got you started?
Trying to impress a girlfriend.
That's a good enough reason.
Yeah, that's how
That's
I've
the
done
best
everything
reason.
in my life. Yeah.
Come and look at my quilts. Was it kind of like
Yes.
that?
No, I said, oh yes, quilts. I've always been interested in quilts. That's what I
And
said.
then went home and read a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's not true. I'm sure it's not true.
That's
But
not
we're here in your gallery. Is this
Yes.
the first time you've been at the festival?
I've never been to the UK before. I've never been to, that's what I call England. They refer to it as the UK.
That's fine.
Is that all right?
With that, absolutely. We like
Well,
that.
there's a lot of terminology to
Well,
learn.
Great Britain,
Great,
UK.
yeah, but I mean, every day there's all these things. I just learned when I referred to somebody's button they were wearing.
Badge.
that It's not a button. It's
This is a button.
This is a button. That's a badge.
That's a badge.
Purse. I said something about somebody's
Handbag.
purse. It's not a purse.
Handbag.
It's the terminology is so different.
But we could sit here and do Lost in
I
Translation
know.
all morning.
All morning, yeah.
Yeah, I find some of that when I talk about stuff on my YouTube channel and people
Yeah.
are in hysterics.
Yeah.
Different parts of the world thinking, what are you calling it that for?
Exactly. So, anyway, it's my first time here, and I'm loving it. I'm making a lot of new friends,
Yeah.
and I'm just having a great time.
So these quilts, though,
Mm-hmm.
you walk in here and they're just so beautiful.
Mm.
They're so stunning and so visually amazing. So do you want to quickly show us around some of them?
Sure, yeah.
Or even slowly?
Quickly or slowly?
We can do it
Slowly.
at whatever speed you like.
All right, good.
So this one's called Untitled.
This is the only one that doesn't have a title. It's called Untitled. What happened was many years ago when I got a digital camera, Remember the difference?
I do.
Because in the olden days, Anna wouldn't remember this.
No.
In the olden days, you had to take your film and its little canister to the
Send it off to
drugstore
the
somewhere. Send
chemist.
it off.
Drugstore, chemist.
Yeah, that's right. And wait for your prints to come
Yeah.
back and pay money. And
Yeah.
all. So when you got a digital camera, they didn't cost anything. It
No.
was amazing. And so I started taking pictures of the whole world.
Because that's the other thing, with the print way, you would have to be careful to take a good photo. But now you can take 48 terrible photos and one good one.
Yeah, and then throw the rest away. Exactly. So what I took pictures of everything, including the tar patches on the highway. So you know when the pavement cracks and the government comes through with a 3 or 4 inch tar brush,
Yeah.
the crew, and they fix that. To me, sometimes it looks like calligraphy or something.
Beautiful.
So it's beautiful. Some of them, and some of them are more artistic than others.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to have them on a quilt, and I tried to print them out on my inkjet printer, and it's not real black, not like tar.
Okay.
So I eventually found a woman that had an embroidery company, Barbara Zerby by name, and Barbara agreed to, if I would send her the files, she would embroider them on little 6-inch squares of white fabric. So this is
that what
this is
this is?
thread. It's
That
embroidered.
Black is not
And because
printed, it's
of,
thread.
it's thread, and because of the miracle of technology, you can see the little gravelly edge on some of these tar patches.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? I would just lift the image off from the pavement and send it to her.
Right.
Saint Michael and the
Yeah.
dragon, and then these little upside down monsters that are getting beaten up by these angels. Here's one here. Here's another one here.
And
You don't see Kate speechless very often.
no, you really don't, because talking is my superpower, but I'm absolutely lost for words.
Oh, great.
Because I would have walked in here and said, oh, what beautiful quilts, and walked past this one.
Uh-huh.
I've never known that story.
Yeah.
And that's it, my day's made.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Well, let's try this one on for size.
Okay.
Over here. So,
Cool trousers.
those are beautiful trousers. A few years ago, I had a show in Italy, in Verona, and there I made friends with some artists, and I was giving them a tour, and we got to one of my quilts that I had made about the revolution in 2014 in Ukraine.
Oh,
And I had made a quilt called "The Sleeping Protesters" of Kiev, the way I used to say it, Kiev.
Kiev.
And
Not Kyiv.
so here's, and I said, and so these women said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I was so moved by their courage." Anyway, and what I'd like to do is to give this quilt to the people of Ukraine. And they said, "Really?" Yeah. So a few weeks later, I got a call from a museum director in Kyiv asking me if I'd like to have a show there. And I said, well, yes, I would. And could I donate my quilt? Well, yes, of course you could. So that was set up for June of 2020. And then it got pushed back, June of 2021.
Yeah, we all know what was happening there.
And then it got pushed back to June of 2022.
Yeah.
So in February, when the war started, I was devastated because these were friends of mine now. We've been writing and teasing each other on Facebook and stuff. You know, we're friends, and all of a sudden I have friends in this horrible war zone. So I started this quilt, and I wanted to make something about Ukraine, and so I used these black bird shapes overlaid on the beautiful background. And I programmed these million little birds flying, right? Yeah. And then I did free motion quilting of this wheat field because of the wheat fields. Okay, so I was working on this when the bombing of Mariupol began, and it was so horrible that I thought I have to do something bigger than one quilt. So I realized that what I could do would be a triptych. So this was when the war was starting, and then this one I made during the bombing.
And the black birds are a feature on all of these birds are flying across this.
That's right.
And this was the chaos of the bombing.
That's right. And so the quilting design here, it's a Ukrainian, a beautiful folk embroidery design that then I transcribed to be a quilting design. I just used it over and over here.
What's this bit going? What's going on here?
Yeah, well, what you see is what's going on.
Is the right answer.
That's what's going on. And then this is my sort of optimistic next part of the narrative here. So here's these Ukrainian eggs that I blew up to about the size of a hand grenade, you know, and twisted them all different directions. And
these are fabrics I've never seen anywhere.
well, there's very few in here actually. There's the black and the pink and the green, and then this commercial stuff. Everything else was hand printed for this project by my great friend Pat Pauley, a great designer and printer of fabric. And so she gave me a piece, and I started with that. And then once I realized I was going to do a triptych, I called her. I said, I'm going to run out. She printed 12 meters of fabric for me and sent it. And so all of this was custom printed for this project. And then
I just love this custom printing.
Yes, me too.
I really, really like it.
Yes.
And this too?
Everything that's not one of those other
blackbirds or the commercial print.
Yeah, is all by Pat Pauley, the brilliant, talented Pat Pauley.
And the brilliant, talented Joe Cunningham. It's just so beautiful.
Oh.
It's because I'm blown away. I would have been really sorry to have missed this, and I've been wandering around the festival trying to find you and thinking, like a squirrel, oh, let's go over there, this is pretty. Oh, that's pretty, but this is just amazing.
Well, thank you.
Amazing. And so, Joe, you've got, well, now you've got a manager, you're going to have a bit more of a social presence, but you've got a YouTube channel?
I have a YouTube channel, it's called The Quilt Report.
The Quilt Report.
The Quilt Report. It's been, I don't know if this is true or not, but people said that if you watch the Quilt Report, it improves your IQ by something like 14 or 18 points.
At least,
that's
I'm
what
sure.
I've heard. Yeah,
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to watch all of them.
Whereas if you watch my YouTube channel, you fall asleep.
I doubt that. I've seen your YouTube channel.
Well, and then you've also got a Patreon channel.
I have. I'm Joe the Quilter on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and
Joe the Quilter.
That's right.
And the Quilt Report.
Yeah.
All of these details will be in the description below because I know people are going to want to find you.
Oh, good.
And maybe if people are local to where you are, have you got a presence where you?
I do. I have a gallery in San Francisco, and it's not open by hours. It's open by appointment, and so you can email me. I'm easy to find, and set up an appointment if you're ever in San Francisco. And I'd love to show you around my gallery. And if I'll have either my quilts or some other. But somebody that I admire, I'll hang their quilts on the walls too.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing all this with us and giving us your time this morning. It's been
welcome.
Absolutely brilliant, and I've really loved meeting you.
I feel the same, Kate. I feel the same. I'll be watching your channel.
Well, and I'll be watching yours.
Oh,
and
good.
My IQ will go up by several points. I can't wait for that to happen. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay, and we'll see you next year here. No?
I hope. Yeah, I hope to be back. Yeah.
Maybe that would be nice.
Yeah.
But also, I got a little bit of a heads up that Joe's going to be in New Zealand.
Oh, I got an invitation to New Zealand, so if they accept my proposal, I'll be there, yes.
Oh, I hope they do. I look forward to seeing that on your channel.
Okay, good.
I love New Zealand. I think everybody knows how much I love New Zealand.
Yeah, come on, it's New Zealand, yeah.
It is. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Very, very much.
All
and
right.
Good luck with the rest of your show.
Thanks, I'll see you next year.
Yeah, we will. So here again at the festival, I've just bumped into Sarah. Now Sarah's staying at the same hotel as me, so we had breakfast together yesterday and that was lovely. And we're on the Bernina stand now. We've talked to someone on the long-arming Bernina, and now you are here with the machines. And I want to talk to you about a few things, but the first thing, Sarah's just said something really interesting, because where are you from, Sarah?
I'm from New Zealand.
And everyone knows how much I love New Zealand. And when you were in New Zealand, you were invited to?
Well, in my capacity as Bernina, they called us, and they needed someone to help with costuming for the Lord of the Rings
Can
trilogy.
you believe it?
I answered the phone, and then suddenly I thought, oh, I can help. So I said, I know someone, and then I spent the next few months digitizing embroidery designs that were used on the costumes.
And which costume?
Well, and in
Arwen?
particular, I made a quilt for Frodo, and it was all embroidered with golden threads, and I never really realised how important this was. I was just working on this movie.
You didn't realise.
I didn't realise.
It was iconic.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I flattered with a young gentleman who was a crane operator, and he made rain. And another guy who was a computer. He was working for Weta Studios, and he was responsible for the spider. I think it's in the third. Yeah. So we all didn't know.
Shelob.
We didn't know what we were getting into, and then we always used to save our grocery money and have parties on Fridays, and all these famous people would come into our house. We didn't even know who they were at that time. The movie comes out, and then we thought,
oh, that's who they were.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I made Frodo's quilt.
It was a great experience, and then Bernina got involved because they were using a lot of the textile artists in New Zealand had Bernina machines.
So, and were you working for Bernina in New Zealand?
Yes,
then?
I was.
Okay.
I basically left school, studied fashion design, and then thought, what am I going to do? Job came up at Bernina. I thought, I think that's my job.
But now you don't live in New Zealand.
No, I used to come to Switzerland, or go to Switzerland to do training.
Is that where Bernina's based?
Yes, it is.
From?
It is.
Because what were you just saying Bernina is?
Bernina is named after a mountain. A lot of ladies think that they named the mountain after Bernina, but no, it's the other way around.
Yeah, and it's a Swiss mountain.
It's a Swiss mountain.
And that's where it's based.
It's actually the founder of Bernina used to go on holiday, and he would see this mountain, and he thought this was a great name to name his machine. Because when you go to this mountain, you go up on a train. It's called the Bernina Express. And you go up the train, then up a gondola, and you just stand with this mountain range around you, and it's breathtaking. I'm not a tourist promoter, but
for Switzerland.
It was breathtaking. I almost had to. Yeah, it was quite emotional.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So now you've been working in Switzerland for Bernina?
Yes, I went for 1 year. My goal was 1 year. And then I went to the local pub one Saturday night, and I met this wonderful man. And now it's 22 years later. We have an 18-year-old. And I say I don't know if it's the love of the sewing machine or my husband, but depends where I'm at.
So you think you might stay?
I think
Is he Swiss?
Yes, he's Swiss. Yeah, he's a lovely, lovely man. And it's interesting because when you come from New Zealand and you live so far away, you have to go so far to go anywhere.
To see anybody or anything.
And
but actually, that's what I love about it. It's pretty remote.
It is.
And I like that remoteness.
It has that remoteness, and we're all very much do-it-yourselfers. So we can I can change tyres, I can smell of an oily rag, that kind of thing. Number 8 wire.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, number 8 wire, that's a thing. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, because that's a big one, isn't it? Yeah. So Bernina, the mountain, and this machine, and it's really nice that we're standing here by chance, because this is the machine that you designed with K-Facette fabric on it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Now I have a fantastic machine at home. There's no need for me to get a new machine, but if I did, it would have to be one with K-Facette fabric on, I think.
Yeah, it's the third in a collaboration series of special editions with Kate, and it was interesting because this came out just when COVID was coming to an end.
Okay.
So we're sitting around in our black casual gear behind our computers and sewing machines, and then suddenly this burst of colour came onto the scene, and we all got colourful, and it was the best. And Kate always says that colour is the best tonic, and he's absolutely right.
No, he's completely right.
Yeah.
Colour is the antidote to pretty much everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and it wasn't just
sewing with colour, fantastic.
And
Anna and I are just about to leave the festival. We've really got about 20 minutes left, but we have to come and hit the Liberty stall at Alice Caroline. And here is Alice Caroline.
So lovely to meet you,
It's
Kate.
lovely to meet you too. How's it going?
It's been brilliant, amazing. The thing I love most about this festival is meeting all of our customers, people from all over the world. We gave a lady tickets from Canada and she's come specially, and just it's so fun and hearing everyone's stories.
Because it's nice selling stuff online, but it's so much nicer.
It's so much nicer.
And that thing you just said, hearing people's stories, everyone sharing their stories, I love that.
Yeah, I love that, and I love seeing 3 generations of people coming and like teaching each other to sew and learning together. It's
absolutely.
Just so great.
So we've just bought some fabric because we need more fabric.
Always.
But I think what's interesting, in fact, I'm going to take the camera and Anna is going to swap places with me. Okay, because Anna.
Hello.
So Anna is make. You've got a quilt in your head, haven't you?
I do,
Can I
yes.
talk about that with Alice?
Yeah, so I'm making a hexagon quilt at the minute.
Oh, lovely.
With Liberty, but I also want to make a quarter. It's a quarter log cabin, isn't it? I've seen a picture on Pinterest. It's so beautiful.
Lovely.
So that's the fabric that I've just bought.
Exciting.
For that,
And your
yeah.
colours that you chose are gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah,
just-
there's so many, there's
Yeah,
hundreds.
and I've bought a few of your jelly rolls online before.
Great.
So it's been great, but seeing all of this has been
Yeah, and
pretty
here for
magical.
real, it's good fun to putting
Yeah.
the colours together and then you can really see how they go.
Definitely, yeah. It's been brilliant.
Oh, have fun with your project.
Thank you. Well, we'll tag you in it when it's finished.
Great.
Thanks very much, Alice.
Thank you, lovely to meet you.
And thank you all the Alice people. That one's called Anna too. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next year.
Great. See you next
Thank
year.
you so much. That was great.
Yes, brilliant. So I'm on the train now, on my way home from the Festival of Quilts. Very tired, very happy to be sitting down. But Anna and I have had such a brilliant time. We met so many people, so many of you people sitting on the lime green sofa came to say hello, and I absolutely love that. And we were also really fortunate to get some great interviews, and I hope you've enjoyed those in these videos. And so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into some of this fabric. I bought some other bits and pieces as well, and you'll be seeing these in future videos. But for now, I'm looking forward to getting home, putting my feet up, having a cup of tea, and having a long sleep. It's been the best time. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with something else.